There was one fella, well, I was with a guy called Poodle Frenchy. He had 4 little poodle dogs. He was a real character. He was like a walking pawn shop. He had tons of gear. His gear weighed, he said, over 150 pounds. And I was with him on the north side of the Columbia River in Washington. And I knew there was another tramp across the bridge, a railroad trestle, in Oregon. I'd seen him before several times when the train came through there. And he was sort of legendary. His name was Whistlin' Jack. And I thought, you know, I'm going to leave Poodle Frenchy. I'm going to walk this trestle and go over and visit Jack. So I did. And I spent, you know, maybe 4 or 5 hours with Jack, but he didn't want his photograph taken. And he had the best face. He had 1 tooth in his whole head. He had, you know, it was right in the center of his mouth. And we got along pretty well, except he insisted that I didn't take his photograph. And he was armed. He had a pistol and never pointed at me. And I kept bugging him about having his photograph taken. I tried every trick in the book. I mean, in talking him into it, I said, Jack, you know, this is history. You've been out here, you know, for a major part of your life, and he wouldn't have any of it. And he did tell me, this was the only time I ran into this, he says, you know, Dale, you're wearing out your welcome. So I knew I had pushed him a little too far. But then, I thanked him for his time, and I walked back across the bridge to see Poodle Frenchy. Well, in that time I was gone, Poodle Frenchy had been stabbed to death. The way I heard it from other tramps, they said, yeah, he sold a cabin that he'd built to a couple tramps, and it wasn't his cabin to begin with. He sold it to him for $135, so they came looking for him, and they got him. So that was, I always wonder if I didn't go over to see Whistlin' Jack, if I'd have been there, if that would have happened to him, but that's what happened. And yeah, it was a shame. He was quite a character, and I never did get a great photograph of Poodle Frenchy, because I thought, well, I have plenty of time, because he was full of all kinds of stories and sort of welcomed me into his camp. And then after that, I guess I'd heard that another tramp, Hatchet George, looked after Poodle Frenchy's dogs.